Georgia wins again, but until they clean some things up, they're not going to win the whole thing. I mean, Georgia's expectation levels to win the national championship, right? Even by Georgia standards, winning the SEC championship, getting to the playoff, anything less than a national championship, anything less than a semifinal appearance, anything less than that by Georgia standards feels like a bit of a disappointment, given with what they've accomplished the last few years. Even what they accomplished last year where they were left out of the playoff and yet still had many people in the postseason convinced that Georgia was the very best team. I'm not going to get into that argument. That doesn't do us any good. Who cares about last year? I'm talking about this year. But this version of Georgia is way too Jekyll and Hyde right now. I mean, and it's honestly almost all centered around what we see at times from Carson Beck. There's really no better indicator of where Georgia's at than their quarterback's decision-making. Now, are there some good things in there? Oh my goodness. Like, there are so many great things that Carson Beck does throughout the game. There's 3rd and 7, games tied at 20, fourth quarter. You see zero pressure from Florida. He sees a matchup that he could take advantage of with Arian Smith, hits it 34-yard conversion. Like, we see that, and we're like, wow, that's big time. That's what you want. I mean, that's the veteran guy, the fifth-year senior, the guy that's been around for a long time, that has seen a lot of football, cool, calm, composed on a 3rd and long, identifying pressure, getting to a check, and taking advantage of that check. I mean, he threw for 300-plus yards this weekend. He's averaging this year more passing yards per game than he did a year ago. But that's the good part of the conversation. The bad part, he's now had 3 straight games in which he's had multiple interceptions. Now, I'll excuse the last one because he was getting hit. Okay, I'll excuse the last one. That one's fine. You get hit and the ball flutters up and they pick it off. It happens. It's hard for me to always put that one on the quarterback. It's not. As a guy that played the position, I know how hard that is. Like, that one's not on him. But let's go to the other 2. Okay, the first play, the first interception, it's just a bad offensive play call. I think you should have thrown it away. Sometimes the OC and the DC is going to make the correct defensive call, and the OC is going to get got. That happens. It happens probably 12 to 15 times a game, maybe more, depending on the DC and the OC matchup. So sometimes the defense wins, right? It happens. It happens all the time. What you can't do is allow their win on that one play to become an emphatic victory by throwing it into traffic and turning the ball over. Because turnovers are what change the game, especially when you're the more talented team like Georgia is almost every single time they get off the bus. You look at that play, you don't like it. It's kind of a confusing coverage. It looked like Florida might have even busted on the left side of the coverage. Throw it away. Live to play the next down. It's no big deal. And we haven't seen that enough from Carson Beck. He's also pretty good with his legs. So extend time, buy time, go. But either way, you can't throw it into traffic. Can't do it. Second interception. You're looking at the play. All right, it's 3rd and 6, 7, whatever it is. It's 9, whatever. It's 3rd down. And right now, you have a play where it's a little underneath hitch by the slot, Lawson Lucky, and a wraparound dig in behind it. That's the other one. I don't recall who the receiver was. He tries to throw it there, but guess what? There's a defender that's right there. You got 2 defenders right there. Throw it to Lucky. He's 5 or 6 yards downfield. Maybe he breaks a tackle. Maybe he turns upfield, goes and gets the first down. If not, he's tackled, and guess what? You got a 4th and 3 to consider. Or a 4th and 2 to consider because he's a big tight end. And he's probably not going to fall backwards. Just take the underneath. Take what the defense gives you. And right now it feels like sometimes he doesn't trust the receiver. He doesn't trust the progression. He is predetermining where he's going with the football. He's letting the naysayers about, his draft stock, all this stuff. Just take the progression. Take what the defense gives you and eventually they'll give you the game. But I look at the defense too from Georgia, man. There's been issues there too. Georgia's got a lot to clean up. And their ceiling is as high as anybody. And it might be the highest in college football. If they play their best game against Oregon's best game, I don't know who wins. It's a great, great conversation that we can have if we get there. But my goodness, they're not going to get there if they keep having critical errors on critical downs and distances. The good's good, but the bad's been real bad. We need to see a little less bad if Georgia's going to get where they want to go.